Welcome to Backstage with Becca B with special guest Tony D'Elio. Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Backstage with Becca B. On this episode, this dancer extraordinaire made his national tour debut in Beauty and the Beast, has been on the national tours of shows like Kinky Boots, Hamilton, and Cats, and recently made his Broadway debut in Bob Fosse's Dancin. Please welcome Tony D'Elio.
Hello. Hi, Becca.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good, very good. I'm looked at your resume last night, and I am so excited to talk to you. You've done like incredible stuff, and
Thank you.
You're in a huge year for you. You just made your Broadway debut with a
It's really exciting.
show, with a fantastic show.
Yeah.
So, first of all, how has life been? I know 2023 has probably been like crazy for you and like a whirlwind.
Yes. It's been just that. It's been overwhelming at times, just because the days are so busy. We've been working on the show, talking to people about the show. I was joking the other day that I haven't seen many friends in a while just because we're so encompassed by the work. And I have to say I love it. It could sound easily like I'm complaining, but it is what it is. Right now I'm eat, sleep, and breathing Bob Fosse, and this is what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, and you're a dancer, so like I feel like that's a dream for you.
It is. And dancers know how to work hard and know how to have a 12-hour day. So it
Oh my
helps me out.
goodness, yes. Well, I have done like gymnastics all my life, and I associate like dance with being like dancers have like the same work ethic as gymnasts.
I agree.
And that's a work ethic that like you can't find anywhere else.
It's true.
You
I
really
agree.
can't find anywhere else. So, have you always known you wanted to be a performer, and when was the moment you realized?
I've always known to move my body when music played. It's just something I've naturally done. And also, I painstakingly sat my family down as early as I can remember, putting on shows, conceiving things, watching movies, and thinking of, I want to do my own adaptation of that, or getting inspired to create my own stories. So I remember the first house I lived in, we had this like up landing thing. So there's the living room and this kind of transitional space that was naturally lifted like a stage. And since I would watch videos of my mom doing musicals, because she also worked in musical theater, I saw her doing it, this person I love doing this thing that I love. And so I have just always performed. And what I've learned now is I've learned that I enjoy telling stories. So that has been my way of doing it with music and dance.
So, how long were these shows? Because one of my sisters also organized shows as a kid, and they lasted all day. My parents weren't in the room.
I honestly, some of them were 5 minutes, and I'm sure other shows were 5 hours.
Yeah. And you're like, no, this is just the third intermission. You have to sit down.
Exactly. There's no leaving.
Yeah, no, where are you going? I'm still performing. Yeah.
Exactly.
I just remember my sister getting like so mad when my parents would stand up. So whenever like someone's like, I put on shows at home and I had a place where I put on shows, I'm like, they lasted like 10 hours, right?
Yeah, exactly. Never ending.
Yes. So,
I love that you and your sister did that, by the way.
Oh my gosh. And the costumes were something.
I'm sure.
Oh my God.
I love it. Creativity.
It was. So when did you start dancing, and how did dancing help you become a well-rounded performer?
I started dance class in the 3rd grade. I started at ballet school. So it's a very structured way of learning dance because I, was wild at home and was doing my own thing. ballet class was definitely the Kickstarter that taught me that dance can be a discipline and a practice as well as something really fun and wildly creative. So, and I think how has it helped me shape me as a performer? I think because it started with discipline and understanding that this is something that takes maintenance, practice, and attention.
Yeah.
And I approach all my work like that, whether that's a voice lesson or studying a scene or even planning something, planning an event, making sure everything is thoughtful and everyone's taken care of. I think that's my dance practice has a lot of that.
Do you have a favorite dance genre and like why?
I love jazz. There's an incredible documentary, I believe, on Amazon Prime called Uprooted, and it lays out the history of jazz. And in watching that documentary, I was reminded why I love the style so much. And it's because it's a fusion of Afro and Latin, Caribbean music and movement. And that kind of rhythm has always, reached something in here. And it's something that is free, it's something to be interpreted. Much like jazz music with musicians, jazz is improvised, and the same thing is done with movement. There is, of course, classical jazz, which is European ballet met with South American jazz. Fun fact that creates like a more classical jazz built in with technique, which that kind of fusion is so cool. I mean, now in 2023, jazz, and because people evolve, creativity grows, artists meet each other, there's so many fusions and crossovers within the jazz world that I love them all. So like jazz for me, in conclusion, just encompasses so much movement quality.
Like everything, and it shows
Yeah,
so much expression.
yeah,
I feel like you can really act through that
exactly,
too, which is
exactly. Thank you for saying that because jazz is about feeling.
yes.
Jazz is about expressing what's in here. Where other styles really rely on the physicality and the physical shape to tell the story. Thank you for saying that. That is like the key component is
I wish,
expressing the feeling.
yeah, I wish I could do those dances because I just like watch you all in amazement. I can like do flips and
Oh,
stuff, but I have no rhythm when it comes to dance. And I'm just like, how like that this is so impressive. What the heck?
I suggest putting on some music and just let the groove take you.
That's what I did in
See
2020
what happens.
pandemic, and my dog disapproved. She stared at me like, "What are you doing?"
Maybe she'll join in with you next time.
Maybe next time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll get her to. So, is there a show that you think, whether it's was a regional show or like a recital, that prepared you most for like going on national tours and auditioning for Broadway and like
Mm-hmm.
the big stage?
I think what prepared me the most to do this growing up was under the direction of a woman named Riley Fitzgerald at Divine Dance Center. She made sure that my upbringing in dance, I studied with her from sixth grade to when I graduated high school, or fifth grade, I don't know. And she just made sure that our dance education was super diverse and we were constantly performing. So I think that's what prepared me to tour and to be able to approach doing 8 shows a week,
Yes.
with integrity, with stamina. Because we were always performing. If we weren't taking classes from her and her staff, we were at dance conventions taking classes from people from New York, all over the place. So I think thanks to her and the schedule we were on and what we all committed to doing, I've been able to step into the professional world, and it was just normal to me.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
shout out. Where's this dance
Shout out.
located?
This is in Roanoke, Virginia. Um,
Oh,
Roanoke, Virginia. Yeah. There's a lot of dance where I come from in Southern Virginia and North
I love that
Carolina.
so much. So someone watching can be like, "Hey, I live close to there," and go check it out, or like email or call.
Yeah, go see Riley.
Yeah. So you made your national tour debut on Kinky Boots. And
Actually,
Or was it
Actually,
another show?
it was. It
What show was
was.
it? Okay, I was looking
Beauty
at
and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Oh my God, that's
That
so
came first.
dying.
Yeah.
That is
It makes
so
sense.
good.
The order in my bio may be different, or my
Yeah,
resume.
yeah. On like Broadway World, I feel like. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what a magical show to be a part of.
I thank you for
Were
saying
you a
that. I was
Disney
hanging
kid?
out with, I'm
Were
sorry.
you a Disney kid growing up?
Oh my gosh, I was. That's exactly where I was going with this. Of course, grew up on Disney musicals, and the Disney movies are musicals. It is all musical theater. Um, it's song through dance. Thank you, Alan Menken.
Yes. I saw
Um,
it the other week and freaked out.
ah, amazing. Yeah, so anyway, Beauty and the Beast was a really special one because the first Disney movie my mom ever bought when she got pregnant with me, my dad was like, "Well, if we're gonna be parents, we need to have a Disney movie." So he brought home the VHS of Beauty and the Beast because that came out the year I was born.
Oh my
And so mom watched the opening number and cried and was like, "That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Hormonal and pregnant with me. And I don't know. It's just Beauty and the Beast has quite literally been in my existence for a long time. So, and I could do that show forever, honestly. Would love to play LeFou again one
God.
day.
Oh my gosh, what a good
What
role.
a fun show. Yeah. Oh, it's a
Yeah.
delicious role.
Yes. There's so much I feel like freedom with that role to like just like
Freedom.
get
Yes.
on stage and make people laugh and make people have a
Mm-hmm.
good time in the theater.
Mm-hmm. It really was my introduction to like professional acting on stage because I studied so hard in dance and LeFou. I remember because I started as the understudy for LeFou, and my first understudy rehearsal, I asked one of the bell covers. I suddenly was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and she said, "What's the most important thing to LeFou? Gaston's attention. Focus on that." And every word that comes out of your mouth is real. It was this like panic advice of me being like, what do I do? And I don't know, from there it just became class. Like to me, Beauty and the Beast, learning LeFou, getting to do it was my freshman year of college,
Wow.
because it was right after high school.
What an impressive role to like start off with national tour wise,
Thank
because I've
you.
heard like from people who do comedy that comedy is so hard to find your pacing in. And it's like
Yeah.
it's a completely different type of acting.
Yeah, it's what's hard about comedy is you have to listen to the silence. It's what happens in between the
Yeah,
words.
yeah. And when things get awkward, you have to be like, okay, so I just have to like continue and do my thing and like make
Yeah.
people laugh and have fun with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Have you heard of yes and?
I haven't.
So in improv and comedy, instead of like you always want to say yes and, you know. So with
Oh,
improvisation, if someone in theater, someone makes a choice, you can literally say
like
yes and fill in the blank, or you can just go with what they're saying. So the phrase of yes and is just how we're
like
having this conversation. We're saying
yeah.
yes to each other and we contribute something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, you learn
Like
something new every day.
the staple of like comedy and like and probably and acting too.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you say no, it shuts down. Yeah, it stops the momentum of the scene. It shuts your scene partner out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get into more stuff, but first,
Let's
how
get into
cool
it.
is it to be in Beauty and the Beast and get to inspire kids of the next generation through that show? Because like that's a show that is gonna be kids' first show to ever see in their life, theater wise.
True. It was really special. We could look out the dressing room window wherever we were, whatever theater, you would always see kids coming in yellow bell dresses or having the little beast cape some kind of costume, because Beauty and the Beast reaches all ages and it's been around for almost 30 years now. So it's reached a lot of people. And so I know for me, when I saw theater as a kid that was based on a movie I loved or characters I knew, it was the moment where the magic became real and it was right in front of me. Um, yeah, and I feel like whether it's something like Beauty and the Beast reaching the 5-year-old or Bob Fosse's Dancin reaching a 80-year-old who saw the original production, there's this magical thing in live theater
Yes.
where you can like make something real for people.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, there definitely is. And where a
Mhm.
kid is like, "Oh my gosh, that's Belle on stage," or those are the characters I love on stage.
Uh-huh.
But they're like, "Those are the actual real people. That's the actual real
Exactly.
Belle."
Exactly. Exactly.
The magic's beautiful at that age.
It
So,
is.
I wanna talk Kinky Boots because, I feel like that was a really cool show for you to be in. Um, I and I have a question about that later, but what was your audition process like?
I auditioned for Kinky Boots a lot, actually. Over the years, for different angels doing different things because they all have their own little shtick. And I gotta say, when I finally one had availability, they had availability. So many things have to align,
Yes.
for timing to work out. Um, I it was a blast because we were going around America in 2017. Times were polarizing and still are. And especially where the tour route was going, people would protest the show. We would go out to drag bars, queer spaces, and everything was so warm and felt precious and protected. um, so Kinky Boots, it was this high level of glamour. I have never felt more like a glamazon in my life. To knowing that like just what we're doing, as silly as it can feel and playful and joyous as it can feel, has this really serious impact outside of the comfort of this theater. Um, so I know for me personally in my life, I stepped my advocacy up specifically towards homeless LGBTQIA youth. We visited a lot of shelters, and I was shocked to learn that Broadway Cares funded their food pantry. Even like more shocking to learn that, young people are kicked out of their homes for just trying to be who they are. And Kinky Boots, brought that into my life and really brought it into my awareness and consciousness, and it has like completely shifted a lot of things for me. I love drag so much, and it's important.
Well, I'm sure that like a big percentage of the audience that comes to that are actually like kids who like got kicked out at like 16, 17 for just like wanting
Yes.
to be who they are. So they get to like come and enjoy themselves at a theater and like see themselves on stage in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, as someone in the LGBTQ community, what does seeing a show like Kinky Boots on stage mean to you, and what does touring with it mean to you?
It touring with it me to me, it felt important. Seeing it on stage, I don't it got me inspired and happy. And what I like about that story is it takes, like, Lola and Charlie could not come from more separate worlds. However, they have this thing in common, which is being estranged from their father, or more so not living up to their father's expectations, actually, is what they have in common. So it hits home for me personally. I have a beautiful relationship with my father, but it's touching. I come from you know a town in the South where, while I am surrounded by a lot of love and support there, sometimes it's not so easy. So I don't know, Kinky Boots all in all just feels and felt important.
Yeah, it's a different place than like New York City or I'm
Yes.
in Los Angeles right now. And Los Angeles, I feel like is like one of the most like accepting places in the world.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
For
I
sure.
love it out there.
Yes. So,
Hi, shout out to the LA girlies.
oh my gosh, LA, the weather's the best part, honestly.
Mhm.
I'm from
Mhm.
Texas, so I could not deal with the Texas weather anymore. Ugh. And spring storms, no. Uh,
Wow.
So, how do you keep your stamina up while dancing 8 times a week in a show like Kinky Boots and simultaneously being on the road and traveling? Like, was that something that you had to like slowly work on? I know with Beauty and the Beast, there's not as much, quite as much dancing, and Kinky Boots is a very like dance heavy show.
Yeah, actually, um, you're gonna be shocked to hear this. Most of Kinky Boots, the work was getting into drag.
Oh my,
Everything else, we are walking and pumping around that stage, but the angels only are in 5 numbers.
but
It's just 5 numbers, and
a lot.
they are a little strenuous. However, it mostly is about the singing. So the work at Kinky Boots, I went to the gym like for 2 hours every day because in my mind I felt like I wasn't like sweating enough on stage. I felt like it wasn't enough. Um, but then in other shows like Cats, I did not go to
Oh
the
my
gym.
god. Oh my gosh, that
But
show.
Kinky Boots, the work and God, so much respect to drag artists everywhere. Getting into drag, honey, takes time,
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. I
and
too
that was the gig.
makeup.
Yeah, that was the gig.
I'm too lazy in the morning to put on any makeup.
I did.
So I respect for.
Yeah.
Do you all like do your own? Did you all do your own makeup for that show?
Yes. Yes.
So
I know
that's
Lola
okay.
has the option, but
If
yeah,
you're
we did
the
it
cat too,
ourselves.
because cats you have to like paint the cat like yeah. So that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Props to you for that, because that's tiring.
Thanks.
And you have to like be like, keep my eyes open when I'm putting on makeup on my eyes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the work.
Uh-huh.
So I can't not mention, I'm gonna get into Cats, but I can't not mention
Yeah.
you were in Hamilton.
Yes.
So what, and by that time when you were touring with Hamilton, it had already reached like that like popularity level. So
Mm-hmm.
when you got cast in Hamilton, what was your reaction?
My reaction was I I couldn't believe it at first. I jumped up and down in a parking lot. I was down filming something in Mississippi of all places. So
Oh,
everything about it was just strange. Um and and at the time we didn't know what was happening with Dancin, if it was coming to Broadway, when it was coming to Broadway. So my initial reaction literally was, can I do it? Can't Do they really want me? Can I
but
do
you went.
this? Yeah, so it took me a minute to accept that I was even gonna be able to do the show, you know.
Yes.
And God, I was so grateful and so happy I was able to. I learned so much out there.
Do you have a favorite, since I know you appreciate dance in like a way that like so many that a lot of people don't. Do you have a favorite dance number in Hamilton and why?
The Schuyler Sisters is so fun to me. It was so simple, so easy that I that was something I looked forward to every night. Um but then I think top one is Satisfied. I
Oh,
love the partner work, I love the scene work, I love the music. Also, my specific track I did a lot of really fun floor work like around Angelica's dress, and oh my god, wow.
that's amazing. So you have to be careful with the dress too at the same time.
Yes,
You have to be like
especially if a
careful.
new sister is there and is a different height with a different dress hem length. I've definitely like rolled my face into some fabric.
Oh,
I
fun.
don't know, but it's fierce. If it's gonna be anyone, let
Oh
it be
yeah.
Angelica Schuyler.
And you're like, that's supposed to happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely supposed to happen. So in a show like Hamilton, it has such a dedicated fan base. And I feel like the fan base probably grows every year because like it's on Disney Plus and people can watch it on Disney Plus, and then like more people
Yes.
getting to Broadway. So how does
Yes.
the energy from the fans of a show like Hamilton affect your performance nightly?
Mm. I mean, you go out there and it's instant applause just by being.
Standing.
And it's a moment I realized I have been asked, I have been invited into this masterpiece.
Yes.
And it's as soon as it begins, it's not about me at all. I have a I have a job to do, and it's to meet this material. It is what that is in regards to like understanding the respect in the fan base and stepping out there, like almost like held me accountable, like to like really show up for the work and to deliver something beyond just these clothes I'm wearing that are now iconic, for people to see the Hamilton costume.
People are like dressing up in those for Halloween or making their own for Halloween
Uh-huh.
and stuff, which I'm sure is
Uh-huh.
wild. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean that is very cool.
Thank
So
you.
do you have like any favorite stage door memories from your time with Hamilton? Speaking of fans of the show.
I love meeting young theater kids who want to pursue a creative life, and the show has reached them to the point where they have felt inclined to wait outside to say thank you to us, the players who told the story.
Oh, my little device is listening to our interview.
She has something to say.
She's spying on me. No, I'm kidding. She's listening in. She's like, I want to join too.
Oh my god, everyone loves Hamilton, including AI.
Yes, exactly. That's the problem. It's too popular.
Oh my gosh.
And the cool thing about Hamilton also, I feel like, is that the ensemble plays like such a big part in the storyline through dance.
It does. It does. Andy Blankenbuehler set up an ensemble that is the subtext of what's happening with the principals in the middle of the stage.
Yes, it's just like it's you're in awe watching it. I feel like watching
Hmm.
like you have to pay attention to all to what's going on, what the ensemble members are doing, because if you don't, you're gonna miss something huge
Exactly.
in
Just
the
like
show.
all this choreography with like the plotting and planning
Yes,
ships and the in the night, all it's its own language,
it
truly.
is. It really is. Dance is its own language. Every kind of dance. So I want to talk cats real quick, and then I'm gonna get into dancing. So,
Meow.
oh my gosh. So Cats, what an iconic show to be a part of and to get to like tour with. I mean,
Yeah.
you get to bring that show to new people who haven't seen the show maybe, or to people who haven't seen it and since the last time it toured. And
Hmm.
it's like it's one of their favorite shows. But like what's it like getting to be a part of a show that's had a runtime as long as Cats, and that is like, as when people think musical theater, they think Cats. They go to Cats and Phantom.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Well, with cats, I mean, gosh, talk about a legacy piece. People are coming excited. People who have seen the show, know the show, love the show with cats are coming. I don't think they have expectations. I think with cats, they're more excited. What I learned from the fan base and people who love the show is they love seeing different interpretations of these cats.
Yes.
They the expectation is they want to be wowed and they want to feel the excitement, and there are these moments, but that's the way that's fun about cats is they cast the show with people who fill into these characters. You're going to get the leg and innocence from Victoria. You're gonna get the mischief from Mungo and Rump, no matter who's playing those roles. The recent like lineage of Mungojerries and Rumple Teasers, we all know each other, and because we all auditioned together, of course, but like from Jess Laprado to Zachary Jones to myself, Ben, and who just did it?
It,
Max Craven. We all talk to each other and we're
there's a club.
friends. And yeah, and there's a little club, and all of our Rumple teasers are, I don't know if they know each other, but they're all little divas, you know. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but
No, I
Cats
love
tends to do
it.
that to me. Um, um, but like in terms of the legacy and fans coming and seeing the show, you're gonna get a different junkyard every night, and it's exciting, even within the same company.
I mean, and talk about a show that tells a story through dance, because I feel like that's the main way Cats, like, yes, through the songs too, but also through the dancing that's happening on stage.
It's a ballet.
You really have to like pay attention to all the art happening on stage, even though art that doesn't involve singing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. For people who see musicals as needing to, and it can only be a traditional book musical, have a hard time with Cats because it just goes against the form, you know? And it's a ballet. And going back to like the start of our conversation, starting in dance school at the ballet school doing the Nutcracker, that's how stories worked. It's a character goes to a place or starts somewhere, goes somewhere else, and meets people along the way. And as you meet the characters, they all have a vignette and do a performance, and you keep it moving, and then the character ends up back home. And that, I don't know, Cats is that simple, and it's more about an evening of entertainment.
Yes, it definitely is. And the light, like the lighting, the stage setup, it's so pretty.
Oh my God, the light show. I love the 80s, and Cats is a 80s science fiction musical.
Yes, yes. I was really happy because I think when it toured at Pantages, my like family friend at the time who was like 12, 13 was really into it. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, this is so great. Like, I feel like it's not something that is commonly, that her generation commonly gets into. But it's so great that she
Mm-hmm.
has an appreciation for it.
For Cats, oh yay. Well, if
Yeah.
I was there in 2019. I feel like Cats there every 3 to 5 years.
Were you at the Pantages tour? Because I might have
I
seen you.
was.
I definitely
Yeah.
probably saw you in it.
Oh, I loved it.
So that uh, it was so good.
Oh, thank
The
you.
the people who came up behind me though and like touched my little like cat ear,
Green
that
eyes.
terrified me. That terrified me. I was on the aisle.
I'm so sorry.
Iconic. No one warned me. I was like,
Oh
someone
my
warn me
God.
next time.
Oh my God.
Warning, might have heart attack because someone's gonna come up behind you.
Exactly. Danger in the aisle seat.
Danger in the aisle seat, yes.
Wow, people who know and don't know, just watching people in the aisle before the show, knowing but not saying anything.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. It's rude. So currently, I want to get into dancing because Broadway debut, it's so cool. And you're one of I read four cast members making their Broadway debut in the show. So that's
Yes.
like, speaking of little clubs, like a little club of people who made their Broadway debut together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's fun.
Very
So
fun.
how did you get involved with the show Dancin?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was working as a barista in a coffee shop in a hospital in Virginia, because it was 2021, and New York, I thought I was, wow, side note, I thought I was going on tour with Moulin Rouge, and that kept getting pushed
Oh,
back. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna live in the mountains in Virginia and work at this ballet school, be a barista in a coffee shop. Um, and I was there living my mountain life, thinking I was gonna do Moulin Rouge. And then I got an email from my acting teacher of an audition breakdown for Dancin, and she said, you need to come back to New York and audition for this. So I did. I reached out to my agent. I asked him to get me an appointment. And luckily, the same casting director, uh, Xavier, who cast Cats, is also the casting director for Dancin. So he knew me, and he didn't know about that I was supposed to do Moulin Rouge, but he just knew I did Cats. He knew I was in a pandemic living in the mountains, and so it was just like the acting teacher, the agent, the casting director, they all were like, Tony, come here. So I came back to New York, and I, at the dance call behind the table, was Wayne Slento, our director, and Corinne McFadden, his associate. And I had saw Corinne a couple weeks before the COVID-19 shutdown at a 2-day long dance day audition for future replacements of Wicked. And there weren't any openings. They just needed to build their file
Yeah.
up for new people. And Corinne and I just really, I don't want to say vibe, but that's it. Like, we just really connected. We were able to like joke around in the room. We were dancing together. It didn't feel like I was trying for a job. It was just fun, good, solid dancing, and we spoke the same language. And then the day ended. No one heard anything because it was just for future replacements audition. But then the shutdown happened, and next thing we know, out of the pandemic, I go back into dance and I see Corinne, and I'm like, oh my God, like, here's this woman that I connected so well with literally before the world shut down. It was like one of my last memories, having a good dance day in New York. Um, and to see her again on the way out, I saw Wayne and her looking at me on the way out. I said, Corinne, I said, it's good to see you again. And Wayne reached over the table and grabbed me by the arms and asked me, who are you? I'm like, I'm Tony. What's up? And I didn't feel like I had the job at all throughout the audition process. But what I did know was that whether I got Dancin or not, that there was support on the other side of the table. And I felt really celebrated by them. And I think that helped me show up as my best self in this audition process.
Wow. Yeah, that I
Yeah.
feel like
It
that
like pulled
also,
me.
I mean, also you mentioned like speaking the same language too. Like I feel like dance wise, like when you like know the terms and stuff to
Hmm.
during conversation, that really, really helps, especially in a show like this, because it's
Yeah.
around dance and around Bob Fosse's choreography.
And in terms, also in style and
Yeah,
like dynamic, like how do you want to hit that thing, really
yeah.
nice.
So speaking of Bob Fosse's choreography, how did his choreography influence and inspire you growing up as a performer? And like, how cool is it to now get to do that on stage every night, 8 times a week?
Yeah, he influenced me growing up. I saw videos of him doing Snake in the Grass from The Little Prince, his work in Sweet Charity, Take Off With Us, Steam Heat. So I grew up watching him move, and growing up as one of the few boys in dance, it was always like the girls do this, but you do the boy version. And in Bob's work, it is just the human version. Everyone rolls the shoulder, we all move the hand. So I wasn't aware of it or not, but I looked at Bob's stuff, and it was accessing all of these parts of me.
You're like, I don't have to be on I'm not limited to
Yes.
one side.
Yes.
I can do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool to have
It's
that,
very special.
to have like that legacy and
Mm-hmm.
to have that inspiration on people is very cool.
It feels very special.
So the director was also in the original cast of the show
He
on
was.
Broadway. And what's it like getting to learn from him? As I'm sure you also were familiar with his work growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Wayne Salento is the man who saw something in me and gave me this incredible opportunity. It's amazing working with him because he actually did it. He was in the room. It's reviving a work from the source itself, in its purest essence. Dance is something that's going to be interpreted differently on everyone's bodies, anyway. So to have Wayne's expertise of, this is how it should feel, this is the dynamic, this is the acting intention that's going in your brain. You can't get that off of a video or even off of like notes and notation, or based on someone who learned it once upon a time after the fact. It's incredible. It's like a time machine, if that makes sense.
No, definitely, definitely. Because like you're learning from like someone, yeah, you're learning from someone in that original cast, and you're like picking up things from that original Broadway production,
Mm,
which is really
we
cool.
are.
So, do you remember the day you made your Broadway debut? I know everyone's names are on like lights on that stage, which that must make things so much more exciting too, honestly. To just
Yeah.
see your name behind you.
Yeah.
Like,
It's extremely special. Yeah. But in regards to my Broadway debut, people say they black out and can't remember a thing for their Broadway debut, but I remember every moment. It was a performance I was really proud of. It's something I had worked hard for and for a long time, and I'm proud of what I did.
you just look at like the pictures from like current call opening night and just like cry seeing your name behind you.
It's more so disbelief and a reminder. It's like, wow, yeah, that's happening. Because from my perspective, I'm just running out to the 1,000 people I just like had this intimate 2 hours with, and it's bows to me, or is me saying thank you, thank all of you for like being here and doing this with us. So to see the picture, I'm like,
You're like, what?
my name's up there. Yeah. So the bows, what it means, I think, for me, is different than what it looks like.
I feel like that's such a great like whoever came up with the how the names look behind you all. That's such like a great love letter to like every dancer in the show. And
Yeah, Bob, that was important to Bob. And in Chicago, um, which is running right now at the Ambassador Theater, they all bow with their name being announced on a microphone. And in the original production of Dancin, they all bowed with like an announcement of their name, so it's in the spirit of what Bob always did, which was champion the dancer.
yes, as people should, as more people should. So, how would you convince people to come see Dancing on Broadway?
Do you want to feel good? Do you want to be inspired to move? Do you want to have a good time? Do you want to forget anything that's stressing you out right now? Do you want a mental health day? Come see Dancin. Please. Please.
I'm nominating you for the little commercial spot narration.
Oh my God, to get a hot take outside the theater. Yeah, I'll do it.
They should definitely have you do it. I'll like send in a request. And then I'll be like, oh, hey, it happened.
Mm-hmm. It's happening.
So to like kind of wrap up, what attracts you to shows you've been in? Because you've been in some iconic stuff and you've really gotten to dance, act through dance on stage over your career. And you're like just like at the start of your career, I feel like still.
I thank you. I agree. I feel like I'm also at the start of my career. I'm so young. Um and I mean, what attracts me to work that I do, it's something that I want to be proud of and something I believe in. And I think as I love focusing on the work I have in front of me and whatever the next project is after this, and I think this is the pattern I follow, is it needs to stretch me in another direction. I like to think about like building my career, which I've been lucky to be doing this for 11 years. Hopefully I can do it for
Many more.
Many more. But I don't see like a ladder moving upwards with different rungs. I see it more like a web. Like it builds out that way. It's more like a mountain of like a staircase that moves in a billion different directions. So yeah, just expanding out. And I love, and I don't know, I know when work is gonna do that for me. And it's whatever comes into my inbox. So
And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go for that.
yeah, you always know. You always know when something's for you, I think, as an artist.
And when like casting directors like think of you, or when like your manager thinks of you when they see a role, that's a sign.
Exactly. If someone else is, yeah, exactly. If someone else is like, hey, I see this for you, even if you don't at first, you have to listen to that.
Yeah, that's a sign. Even if you don't see it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, what advice would you give to young performers who are maybe college age or younger, growing up, who want to be in the industry, on the industry, self confidence in the industry, etc.?
Mm-hmm. I think if you're a young person wanting to get into this industry, I think step one is know thyself. And allow for that to change. And it's okay to like move and shift and want different things. Um, I just, I think that, I don't know, you need to like allow room for the unexpected and allow room for change and doing new things. And and with that, in regards to training, doing new things, what does that look like? That looks like going to classes that make you uncomfortable. That that means taking advice that maybe makes you not, I don't know, that shakes up your self-perception, it's the newness thing and putting yourself in new situations. But I start with know thyself, because you have to know your strengths and what you're bringing to the table. um and just like find the spots where my example is that I wasn't the most confident in singing alone on stage. I love to sing, but like the art of like crafting a song beginning, middle, and end in front of people took me a long time to learn how to do. But I went to those classes, and instead of only taking dance classes that made me, feel comfortable and confident.
And I'm sure you taught those people who were teaching those like acting classes a thing or two about dance too,
If
because
they ever saw me dance.
because I feel like it's the opposite for like people who are like playing like Elphaba and like Glinda in these shows. They're like, I don't feel confident dancing at all. And so
Yeah.
they get they get to like learn from the people around them on stage who are dancing.
I hope, yeah, my hope anytime I dance with people, is that they're inspired to also move.
Yes. I feel like you're doing that on Broadway right now with people like in the audience every night.
We are,
Yeah.
we are, we are. That's the goal.
So, where can people follow you on social media to keep up with what you're doing?
At my name, Tony Delelio. That is spelled Tony, Tony Dalelio. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I'll put the link in the description of the video. And lastly, do you have anything else to promote, or do you just want to tell people to come see Dancing on Broadway?
I would like to promote Broadway Bears, happening June 18th. It's an incredible show. It's so fun. If you're in New York, please come out, buy tickets. And if you cannot make it to the show, you can donate at my page at broadwaycares.org/Tony D. Bears.
Ooh. And I'll put that link in the description as well, too.
Thank you. Thank
Whoa,
you.
what a cool thing. Well, thank you so much for joining me to talk today. And I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm like totally getting emotional hearing you talk because you're so inspiring.
Aw,
But
thank you.
I really enjoyed getting to hear about your career and how passionate you are about dance and about being on stage and performing for people.
Aw, happy to have this conversation, Becca. Thank you for having me. It's really, I love seeing young people excited about theater, so thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Backstage with Becca B. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.